What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? It's AC Reviews the World back at you with another video. This is episode 8. I don't know. AC Reviews the World. That's all I'm calling it. Might be AC Review the World show. Hey, doesn't matter what it is, but hey, we're doing this the 8th time we're here again. I think I got 8 different things I want to bring up. Different things I'm seeing that's been coming up around. This is all within the past week, so 7 days within that past week. I need to get more consistent on going through and recording at least once a week. I say twice or 3, but at least once a week. But yeah, we gotta look at the title. You got a couple of things we're gonna be looking at. We're gonna look at the Tyre Nichols, that not guilty verdict. Gator versus Gator grabbed a woman in front of her husband out of a canoe in Florida. Stray bullet killing a sleeping man. There's a bunch of things going on. You know, we just gotta what we always do. We gotta review the world together. But remember, this is AC Reviews the World, and let's get right into it. Remember to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube, all that good old stuff. But let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to get into today, and we're going to talk about, is the Tyre Nichols not guilty verdict. We're going to watch some of that, of the 3 Memphis police officers who were found not guilty. So we're going to watch some of that. And then also, I've seen that people have been posting wanted dead or alive for those 3 officers. So we're going to get all into that, and let's just jump right into it.
We are following some breaking news. 3 former Memphis police officers have just been found not guilty on all charges in the state trial over the beating death of Tyre Nichols.
The jury reaching that verdict on just the second day of deliberations. Let's get right to NBC News correspondent George Solis. He's been tracking this. He joins us now. George, take us through the verdict.
Now, I will say, most people have seen that video, but it's horrible to see. I don't agree with them being not guilty, but it's the legal system. We got to system and what the jury decided. So we are a country of laws, so we got to go with what the jury says. But if you haven't seen that video, you can watch it. They got body cam footage out everywhere. I might show it again, probably not, but you can go check it out. But with caution. But let's continue on.
And the reaction inside the court.
Yeah, this verdict was unanimous over the course of 2 days after a trial had started back on April 28th. The jury coming back and delivering a not guilty verdict for all of the 7 counts in this indictment. They are as followed. The most serious, of course, being that second-degree murder charge. You heard the jury there saying not guilty for Demetrius Haley, Tadarius Bean, and Justice Smith. On count 2 for the aggravated assault act in concert, not guilty. For count 3, aggravated kidnapping, not guilty. Count 4, aggravated kidnapping, not guilty. Count 5, official misconduct. And then count 6, which was another count of official misconduct, both not guilty. And then count 7, official oppression charge, also found not guilty. Within the courtroom, you saw a number of hugs that were taking place, obviously, from the officers. They're the former officers, their elation on their faces after this verdict was read. Again,
I thought about it. Let's go back. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up because we need to understand where this not guilty verdict and what they were thinking. So let me pull that up. It's gonna be easy to find. Let's pull it up. Yeah, this one should be good.
It appears Tyre Nichols was struck at least 9 times while Memphis police had him detained. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. We're going to caution you. Portions of the video are hard to watch. This is video when the officers first caught him the second time following his escape from them when they pulled him over for traffic stop. He's on the ground at times. Right there, he's up on his feet, but he ends up on the ground here shortly.
All right, so meanwhile, protests have been peaceful tonight in Memphis, but a group of demonstrators have closed parts of Interstate 55. Local reports say the group originally tried to gather in a nearby park, but the gates were closed. So they marched to the highway. Then they got on the highway, marched down the highway. They formed a line across a bridge, the bridge that goes over the Mississippi River. They vowed not to move. That's according to reporters on the scene. The group continues to block traffic, but again, the protests in Memphis so far tonight have remained peaceful. With more tonight about the video and also the reaction.
What you traffic stop January 7th, while it was reported.
All right, so this seems to be more. Let's get more of the close up of the video.
Driving, the Memphis chief said Friday she hasn't been able to substantiate that. You hear Nichols telling the officers he is complying.
I'm just trying to go home.
Then it's hard to tell what happens before you see a taser fired as Nichols runs away from the officers. Some of the officers eventually catch up to him in a neighborhood where he's taken down. A camera atop a pole in the area pivots to capture.
See, that is crazy. Y'all see that kick?
A camera atop a pole in the area pivots to capture what happens as more officers arrive. Audio from another body camera captures some of what officers were saying to Nichols. And you also hear him call for help.
All right. That's enough of that. Let's finish up with the trial stuff, but that's hard to watch. I don't see how you can get completely not guilty on all charges from that video. But if you agree with them not getting guilty, let's talk about it. We can always have a civilized discussion about what you're thinking, about what I'm thinking. So remember, let's talk about that. We can talk about that in the comments, but let's get back into the trial a little bit. We'll finish up this video.
Again, these three officers still face the prospect of years in prison after they were convicted in federal court of charges last year. Again, these were for the state charges. Some more reaction coming in forthcoming. We are waiting to hear from attorney Ben Crump, who we understand also put out a statement shortly after this verdict was read. We'll go ahead and get that to you. We have not heard at this point if there's any reaction from the mother of Tyre Nichols, who was one of the state's witnesses in this case. Very emotional, again, during this trial that began back on April 28th. Pretty quick turnaround when you consider how much this jury was charged with going down this list of charges. 21 counts between the three officers overall. But again, at this hour, the 7-count indictment, the jury coming back finding not guilty for all of these charges. And again, we'll wait to see what the sentencing is for those federal charges. Again, this story is developing over the course of this case, guys. I should note there were 21 witnesses brought in total. The state only bringing up 5, including Tyre Nichols' mother. Defense bringing 17 witnesses to this case. Again, reaction still forthcoming, and we're waiting to see if the former officers have any reaction post this verdict, guys.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
Now, that is crazy. I would like to. I need to do a deeper dive into. I don't know if they released that. What exactly evidence they were shown, what the witnesses said that made them. Because all I'm going off of is the video I've seen. And I'm pretty sure that's what the majority of people are going off of, with the videos that they can. But that did not look like no charges. If you can get murder for it, but no charges, I don't know about that. Now, like I said before, there's a video going around about wanted posters, dead or alive. So we're going to get right into that.
On top of that, Benny and Memphis are
let me get right into it.
On top of that, Benny and Memphis are continuing to react to the not guilty verdicts in the death of Tyre Nichols. And tonight, the most shocking reaction of all: wanted posters, disturbing calls for vigilante justice.
Let's back that up a little bit so we can see. Pause it a second. Y'all see that? Wanted dead or alive. Dead or alive. Both of them. For crimes of beating Tyre Nichols to death and escaping justice. Whew. That is crazy. But some people obviously don't agree with the verdict. Like I say, they've gone through the justice system. That is our justice system. It's faulty at times, but hey, we got to live by it. They was found not guilty in their peers, so just gotta morally, in the eyes of God, what will happen to them, that's up to the higher power. It's called, of course, if you believe in a higher power. But I'm not gonna spend my time hunting these people down. But let's finish up this video.
For vigilante justice for the 3 former police officers who were acquitted in Tyre's death. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Hurst.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Skurlock. The posters are located on light poles in Cooper Young. WREG's Raven Copeland has reaction to the verdicts and the message for the city during this time.
We have gotten so much injustice from this city.
Say that.
That is ridiculous.
Say that.
My son was murdered.
That's right.
By 5 Memphis police
That's
officers.
right. Murder.
He was murdered.
Murder.
And 3 of them got off.
There are people in the Memphis community who share some of the same emotions that Tyre Nichols' family is carrying. Some are more vocal than others. Wanted posters in Cooper Young say the 3 former officers are wanted dead or unalive for Nichols' deadly police beating.
I don't condone those posters at all. I haven't seen them. Have you seen them? Okay, I haven't seen those posters. I don't condone the posting of those posters. What I do understand is a deep hurt and agony and pain for people in this city right now.
Representative Justin Pearson says he encourages the community to express their emotions, but he advises them to do it in a non-violent way. However, he also voiced his disappointment over Wednesday's verdict.
And for someone to see those videos of Tyre Nichols being beaten to death by these officers.
Exactly what I was saying. Just seeing the video, I don't see how you could get not guilty on all charges. But I don't know what was going through what the defense attorney said. I don't know any of that. But the main thing, no matter what the verdict is, there should be no need. Don't stoop to violence. We can't do that. There's main thing is we need to keep our emotions together and can't break down and especially lose your faculties and just go off. You ended up putting your own self in jail. But let's finish up this video.
And to come back with not guilty does something.
The verdict in Nichols' deadly police beating has also resulted in distrust of the Memphis Police Department. However, Memphis Mayor Paul Young and Police Chief C.J. Davis say they're focused on restoring the community's perception of the city's law enforcement.
We recognize the pain and grief this incident has caused, and the men and women of the Memphis Police Department remain committed to rebuilding trust and working together toward a stronger, safer Memphis for all.
Reporting from Cooper Young, for your news leader, Raven Copeland, WRE.
All I can say is there are terrible police officers out there, of course, just like there's terrible human beings out there. We cannot just go and distrust all the police officers. Because why? Because we need them. We need them to protect us. That is their job. They investigate crimes. If something happens, if someone breaks into my house, and I use my legal right to defend myself, I will call. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to call the police. That is what I want to do as a law-abiding citizen. I call the police when an emergency happens. Something is needed, violent, injury, something. The police are there, the ambulance, that's who I call. So can't distrust them, all the police, but the few bad cops, it makes it worse for the truly good cops who all they want to do is protect people to do their job. No. But that is it for the Tyre Nichols stuff. I'm gonna keep up. Like I said, I probably do. I might do some research into if any of the evidence was shown and what exactly went through the courts. I don't know if I can find any of that, but hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see what I can find. But that's it for that video. The next thing I'm gonna get into is so a 10-year-old girl. So this happened 8 days ago. This is right at the cutoff of what I want. The information I'm looking at, but a 10-year-old girl was swept away in a Texas flood. So I'm gonna watch some of that video. So let's get right into that and see what that is talking about. Let's get right into it. Boom, boom, boom.
Could impact the search that's currently underway for a 10-year-old girl who was tragically swept away by rising water yesterday. Authorities say the young girl and her sister were walking home from school about 90 minutes northwest of Houston near Fireman's Park in Brenham when one of them went under. We've been following this story all morning, and Fox 26's Leslie Delaspore joins us live now with the very latest on this search. Leslie?
Yeah, Heather, sad news coming out of Brenham this morning. The family who is here on the property of the Washington County Fairgrounds tells us that that 10-year-old has been found. I want to step out and give you a look at the active scene that's happening behind me here. Family tells us the 10-year-old who went missing during that severe flooding and weather has died. They are identifying her as 10-year-old Dava Woods. Now, again, if you take a look here, we are at the Washington County Fairgrounds, where a press conference was just held at 11, where officials from the city of Brenham, the sheriff's office, Brenham Police, and fire were talking about recovery efforts for the missing 10-year-old. And moments after that press conference, a very chaotic, active scene erupted, where multiple members of law enforcement ran down to this creek here, just on the other side of this pavilion, where we believe the 10-year-old was found. Now, again, the 10-year-old's family is here, and according to loved ones, her mother just arrived on scene and was met by the Washington County sheriff. And again, earlier, the city of Brenham.
Terrible. That can't imagine. I've said this before in past videos. Parents shouldn't need to bury their kids. So naturally, you can't predict it, but I can't imagine. So Jesus. But main thing, we need to keep the family in the prayers. It's a terrible time, but flooding is deadly. Mother Nature is deadly. We need to make sure we secure our kids, especially during the times where it's especially when something a crazy weather event is going on where Jesus. But let's finish up this video.
Gave an update and discussed how this was a multi-agency effort and how many entities were working together starting last night when she initially went missing, and they reconvened this morning to continue their efforts. Take a listen to what officials had to say around 11 today.
Brenham is small. It's a hometown community, and we feel that way. So when one struggles, we all struggle. So we are lifting this family up, and we'll do so until and even after whatever the outcome, we'll support the family and all rally together as we usually do.
And again, officials just informed us that there will be a press conference around 12:30 here at the Washington County Fairgrounds. So we will continue to keep you updated with information as soon as we receive it. Reporting live in Brenham, Texas, Leslie Dellis for Fox 26 News.
Melinda Gordon, Melinda Gordon, PIO, Communications and Public Relations Manager for the City of Brenham. Nobody likes to make information like this available at any time. But we have an update, and I'd like to introduce 3 of our incident commanders who will share the information, the latest information that was found. We have Chief Mark Donovan with Brenham Fire Department, Director Kevin Doremus with Washington County EMS, Lieutenant Stephen Eilert from Brenham Police Department. We will be talking about the loss of precious 10-year-old Diva Woods and her mother, Veronica Williams. I'd like to turn it over now to Chief Mark Donovan.
So at about 4:25 yesterday afternoon, we received notice of a water rescue in the vicinity of Burleson Street and MLK. Brenham Fire Department, Washington County EMS, Brenham PD, Washington County Sheriff's Department, Lynn College PD, and Washington County Constable's Office all responded. Rescue efforts were initiated immediately. Those rescue efforts included local resources, regional resources, and later state resources. Rescue efforts continued throughout the night using assets from throughout the state. Those rescue efforts continued this morning. Shortly after about 10 o'clock this morning, we received notification that we had found the body. At that point, this became a recovery effort, and control of the scene was passed on to Brenham Police Department. I'll let Lieutenant Stephen Eilert fill you in on what that process entails.
I can't imagine having a job where I would have to deal with this. Hopefully not on a daily basis, but just in general. I don't want to have to see this. I don't want to have to, especially see this in person. I'm fine with reviewing it. Like my whole point of my channel, we got to review the world. We need to see what's happening, understand, try to understand at least, but I can't imagine being in that position, looking for a body. I'm not built for that. I'm built to be in my office. So I give props to anyone who's out there, especially police officers, EMS, doctors, all that good stuff. Give my props to them. But let's keep going. We got about another 4 minutes into this video.
As Chief Donovan advised, approximate 10:45, I was contacted by DPS's dive team. They did notify me that they did locate Mrs. Wood. We successfully recovered her, and we began processing our scene. We have taken care of her as much as we could.
It might just be me, but I wouldn't want to be right there sitting in front of the camera at this moment. Maybe if I'm going to speak, maybe, but I don't want to be seen. I'd rather just be at the morgue or maybe out in the audience and not right in front of everybody. Just not me.
Our hearts go out to Wilson's family. is a difficult thing. We did use multiple state resources as well as local and county. Like advised, we had DPS's dive team as well as multiple entities from Texas Task Force 1 for different search and swiftwater rescues during this incident. Currently, we are continuing our investigation at this time. So what limited information we have other than the recovery is still subject to our investigation.
We'll take a few questions at this time, and I do ask that you honor the family and Diva in your questions.
Now we'll watch a few of the questions, see what they was asking.
Emotional group of people right now. To look around and to know that this is the community response and these are the people that came together. Can you just talk a little bit about how, Brenham really came together for this family?
That's not, I thought it was going to be some important questions, but they might be more into, I'll look deep dive in more, but tragic, truly tragic. We need to just make sure, like I say all the time, keep the mother in her prayers. She's obviously dealing with a hard thing, terrible thing to deal with, but let's keep the family in her prayers. I want to know this questions. First question I would have asked is, well, I don't know what the first question is. I don't know what the first question I would have asked. I wouldn't have asked anything about the community coming together. I want to know more about the little girl. Why was she? Where were they coming from? This stuff might be in the police report itself, but the main things I want to know is where was she coming from? How was the sister doing? Because the sister was with her. But I'm going to keep saying this. Let's keep the family in our prayers and make sure that we're, Jesus, love your kids every day. And that's all I can say. Just make sure to be with your kids every day. The next thing I want to get into, so we're going to be looking at, this one's crazy. A man is accused of killing his daughter with an overdose of fentanyl while trying to assault S.A., his daughter's friend. Whew. Now this happened, where's this at? Oh, Jesus. We'll see where this is at, but let's jump right into this. This is absolutely crazy.
Now to a disturbing case where a father is now charged with murder and sexual assault after what prosecutors say happened inside his home on Thanksgiving Day. Investigators say 45-year-old.
Thanksgiving Day? On Thanksgiving Day.
Joshua Youngblood gave his daughter and her friend fentanyl, leading to his daughter's death and the alleged sexual assault of her friend, who was also overdosing at the time. Officials say this marks one of the first murder charges filed under a new Texas law targeting fentanyl-related deaths. Youngblood remains in custody, with both federal and local officials calling the facts of this case appalling.
For the first time today, we are hearing from the mother of a young woman allegedly killed.
So that was just a little briefing on that. So we're going to actually watch this longer video. Main thing I want to say, fentanyl is a very deadly drug. Sickening that it's in our country. Well, sickening that it's being produced in general. The people who sell it, create it, should be locked up behind bars for years, for most of the life. Life. They should be in jail for life. people who serve it to people or sell it to people unknowingly, scum of the scum. But let's finish up this and see what the mother had to say. But this is crazy. You know, father needs to be in jail for life.
By her own father.
He's accused of giving her a deadly dose of fentanyl in order to sexually assault her friend. Jason Miles, live from the Harris County Jail with the disturbing details on this story. And Jason.
Yeah, this is a wild story. The father's been locked up down here since March, but the first time we heard in detail from investigators who spoke alongside the alleged victim's family. Take a look. They held a news conference at the Drug Enforcement Agency's Houston headquarters in the Galleria area. That agency's overdose task force helped build the case against 46-year-old Joshua Youngblood. He's charged with fentanyl, murder by delivery, and sexual assault, accused of giving a dose of the powerful synthetic opioid to his daughter Jade and her friend back on Thanksgiving Day 2023. Investigators say it was part of a ruse to sexually assault the friend, but Jade ended up dying at age 27.
This man looks like scum. Oh my God. Yeah, put him in jail and throw away the key. Look at his face. Look at this. This man makes me sick. Truly makes me sick.
Here's part of her mother's emotional message today for Jade's father, with whom she only had a very brief relationship.
You are a vile person. This is a heinous crime. Jade loved you, and you took her from us. And for that, I hope you pay with your life.
The DEA shared photos from Youngblood's arrest, which followed a lengthy investigation. Even if Jade knew she was taking something, an assistant DA said today that no one should receive a death sentence for doing so. Joshua Youngblood being held down here on combined bonds of more than $300,000.
That man's last name is Youngblood?
Have much more on this case and reaction from the family coming up at 5. For now, reporting live downtown.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Deserves to be in jail for life. Now I'm gonna do a little more digging on this, because the mother mentioned that the reporter mentioned that only in a relationship for a short while. I don't know what that actually. Let's go back and watch that a little bit, because that sounded a little crazy. What was she saying? Let's see.
News conference at the Drug Enforcement Agency's Houston headquarters in the Galleria area. That agency's overdose task force helped build the case against 46-year-old Joshua Youngblood. He's charged with fentanyl, murder by delivery, and sexual assault, accused of giving a dose of the powerful synthetic opioid to his daughter Jade and her friend back on Thanksgiving Day 2023. Investigators say it was part of a ruse to sexually assault the friend, but Jade ended up dying at age 27. Here's part of her mother's emotional message today for Jade's father, with whom she only had a very brief relationship.
Yeah, I'm a little confused on what that means. That's Jade's father, that's her mother, but they only had a brief relationship. I don't know. I'll do some more digging into that. That is sick. That is absolutely sick. Can't imagine. Jesus. Oh my God, that's sick. But that's it for that video. I'll dive more into that and see if I can find out some more information on the relationship between the father and the mother, because that just sounded weird to me. But Jesus, know the Jesus. I think only the daughter died. So the friend who was about to be sexually assaulted, she's still living. So you know she's got some trauma. So let's keep them on our prayers. Jesus. All right. The next thing I want to get out into, so the Gator. The Gator grabbed a woman out of a canoe. Now, where was this? The only place we can think of, Florida. So this was in Florida. And let's jump right into it.
Also breaking tonight in Polk County, an investigation is underway right now after an alligator attack in Lake Kissimmee State Park.
FWC says 2 people were canoeing when a woman was attacked. And 10 Tampa Bay's Chris Hurst is in Lake Wales tonight.
Chris, these attacks, they're unusual, but it is gator mating season right now.
Yeah, Courtney, FWC couldn't say whether that actually contributed to this attack, but it comes just 3 months after another woman was bitten by a gator near the boat ramp at Lake Kissimmee State Park.
Gator grabbed her out of the canoe. He tried to fight the gator off.
Just after 4 this afternoon, the call came.
At the mouth of Tiger Creek on Lake Kissimmee.
A woman attacked and dragged underwater by an alligator while on the water with a male companion.
Polk County Sheriff's Office helicopter responded along with FWC officers by vessel. The helicopter spotted the victim floating in the water, and FWC officers recovered her from the water where she was pronounced deceased.
Little was confirmed tonight about the attack. We don't know the names of the couple, and it's not clear why it might have happened.
FWC officers will work with our biologists to determine the factors that led up to this incident, and the medical examiner will ultimately decide the final cause of death.
As one gator looked on, gunshots could be heard in the distance, while investigators say the search continues for the one that killed the woman.
We currently have statewide nuisance alligator trappers out there searching for the alligator involved in this incident.
Similar to what happened in March when a kayaker was bitten in the arm at nearly the same spot. Gators killed get sent to FWC to see if any human tissue or clothing is in its stomach.
That will be part of our investigation as well once that alligator is recovered.
Now, FWC plans to update us tomorrow morning at a press conference. Meantime, it says to always be mindful and keep your distance from an alligator if you see it. And if you think it could be a danger to someone, you are asked to call the alligator hotline at 866 FWC Gator. Live.
Crazy. There is no way. You should not. If you see a gator, you should not be around it. Now, I'm going to go to another video of a news article. It sounds like to me that the woman or the canoe, while they were canoeing, the husband and the wife, canoed and got close to the alligator. I don't know if it was on purpose. I don't know if it was a mistake. Or it just was like, oh, we're Floridians. I'm assuming they're from Florida. But they was like, yeah, the gator's not going to do anything. Right into that video now.
We're back with a tragedy in Florida waters.
A woman attacked and killed by a gator in Lake Kissimmee. Eden is in our newsroom now with the details on this one. Eden.
And Calvin Nicole, FWC says the victim and her husband were out canoeing when they had that fateful encounter with a gator. According to officials, the couple was on a 14-foot canoe in around 2 feet of water when they approached the alligator near Tiger Creek around 4.
Now, hold on. You heard that, right? They was in 2 feet of water when they approached the gator. Maybe I'm just not from Florida. Maybe. But the words approach a gator does not seem to be smart to me. It doesn't make sense. I can't imagine it, but hey. No matter what they did, if they approached the gator, which is stupid, but if they did, we need to keep the women and keep the family, the husband, in our prayers because he's definitely going through a hard time. But let's keep going.
4 p.m. yesterday, the gator began thrashing in the water, throwing 61-year-old Cynthia DeKema of Davenport overboard. FWC says that she landed on top of the gator and was bitten. Her husband tried to help, but was no match for that alligator. FWC believes the boat have drifted over the gator, scaring it off, and this marks the second gator attack in that area since March, but officials say it is still incredibly rare.
It is rare to have alligator attacks of this nature. This was not believed to be a predatory incident, but just simply an incident of a defensive incident where they came upon the alligator beneath the water's edge, and when the canoe struck it, it caused a reaction.
We always encourage the public to keep their distance from wildlife, and this is obviously...
So maybe we should give them the benefit of the doubt that they didn't see it, but how that wording just does not sit right with me. They approached the gator. Well, I mean, they couldn't mean they didn't mean to, but if it was where they saw it and they got closer, not caring about it, I don't know I doubt that was the case, but now that I think about it, I doubt that's the case. But you cannot, I hate to say it, you can never what is the word? Can't expect how stupid someone can be. It's crazy, but let's finish up this video.
One of those situations where during this time when alligators are active, we would strongly encourage the public to keep their distance from alligators.
And the victim's body was later recovered. Florida wildlife officials confirmed 2 gators were captured and removed from that area, but it's unclear if either of those was involved in this actual attack. Again, experts stress to be cautious around gators and all wildlife. Never approach and provoke, especially now during mating season.
Tonight, an arrest.
Jesus. Now that's the next video we're going to get into. The next thing. So, well, let me finish up. This is just like the reporter said, don't get close to gators and don't underestimate. That's the word. Don't underestimate what the animal can do. Underestimate how strong of a reaction the animal could have that could put your life and the people you love in danger. That's just common sense to me. But that's it for that. We'll keep track. I don't know how much more is going to be about news about this case, but we'll keep it in our thoughts and think about it and see if any more information pops up about this. The next thing, let me gotta get a drink of water for this one. This is crap. The next thing that we're talking about. Now, everybody remember, at least I remember as a kid, Ding Dong Ditch. That was a normal game kids play, especially who hung out on the street when we were actually outside more when we was younger, but it's not good to do, but it was things we did. We Ding Dong Ditched. I never did the whole flaming poop thing in the bag. That was a little too much for my blood. The most I was going was ding dong ditching, or a prank call too. Stupid. Was your refrigerator running? Yeah, stuff like that. Not the flaming poop thing. I only ever seen that in movies. I never did that in real life. But a teen was killed after doing a TikTok. I guess it came back up, the door ringing prank. But TikTok bringing stuff back. That's ding dong ditch. That's what he was doing. So for TikTok, he was making a ding dong ditch video. He ended up dying because of it. Jesus. Now, we got to remember, some of these trends are insane. I remember back, I don't know, was it still a thing? Probably was TikTok. But that Tide Pod eating thing, that was crazy. People was talking about, I can't even remember what that was about, but I remember the whole thing was like on the news, like Tide Pods. Like, you really got to tell us about that. But let's jump right into this video and see what this is talking about.
For murder in Virginia after teens tell authorities an age-old childhood prank, the ding-dong ditch, turned deadly. A high school senior shot to death while doing the stunt, his friends say, for a TikTok video. Now the homeowner, Tyler Chase Butler, arrested and accused of second-degree murder. The Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office saying in a press release it was 3 a.m. Saturday morning when they got a call for a burglary in progress where shots were fired. deputies found 2 people with gunshot wounds on the scene. 18-year-old Michael Bosworth Jr. was transported to a local hospital where he died just hours before his high school prom. His stepfather telling me he was a student who played lacrosse, football, and wrestled, now gone. Another teen grazed with a bullet, telling investigators, according to court records, they weren't trying to break into the home to steal anything. They were just ringing doorbells and running away. And a third teen, not shot, telling authorities the same story and showing police a similar video from earlier that night. The question is whether a resident can claim self-defense in such a case.
In Virginia, if you are going to use lethal force, you have to be in fear from the perspective of a reasonable person of bodily harm, great bodily harm, or death.
Makes sense to me. I don't under. Well, he might. They might say it, but the only thing that could make me think that someone's trying to break into my house is if I see them fiddling with either the key or the code. They're just typing in stuff, or they're trying to pick the lock. They hit the doorbell and just leave. Then ding dong ditch, and I go out there look. I don't see where he was thinking, oh, burglarize it. They was just doing that. I don't know. But we just got to wait for the evidence to come out. But they said they got videos of them doing the same thing. So he's going to go to jail. If they link those together and be like, oh, these same kids just did the same thing over there. And this is all they did. They weren't. It very obvious that they wasn't trying to break into the house. It's going to jail. Going to jail for a long time. So let's continue it.
The sheriff's office saying the butler is held on no bond at a local jail. We haven't been able to reach him or an attorney. The investigation is still ongoing and may uncover if it really was a ding-dong ditch that led to shots ringing through this neighborhood and a young life lost. Drew Wilder, NBC Washington.
Now, if they was doing a TikTok, it's obviously a video. I don't know if it's saved, if they were trying them, if they made other videos that day. So, yeah. So, if they got video, it's over with for Boy. It's over with for him. There's no reason that he should have killed or shot at the teen. The main thing when you're protecting your families, or especially in a stand your ground state, you got to be in fear for your life. You don't know what's going to happen. You're able to protect yourself in your house. You don't have to run away. But you can stand your ground. I don't know if this is a stand your ground. I'm assuming this is. But, yeah. He's going to jail for life. Main thing, let's stop doing these. We're in a day and age where people are dying for stupid things. Dying for very stupid things. Kids, you cannot just do some pranks thinking, oh, it's just going to be a prank. Something terrible can go wrong. I remember, oh my God, these pranks, some of those YouTube pranks be out of control. The worst one I've seen was somebody going around. This was older people, of course. It was going around there, pull up somebody's pants. Doing it in the hood. Pull up somebody's pants. You know what happened? Your gun fell out. Now you got to run for your life. It was stupid. It's very stupid. You can't do pranks and then get. Oh my God. Some of those people get mad. Oh my God. Some of those people get mad. But that is it for that video. I'll keep up with this one, especially so we can see what he gets charged, if they go through it, if any protests happen, all that good stuff, I wouldn't say good stuff, but all the stuff that's usually associated with this type of case. But Jesus, it's crazy. The next thing I want to get into this. So I can't imagine going up. So recently, my grandmother passed this year. Going up to the casket during the funeral, looking in the casket, and not seeing my grandmother, but seeing someone else with the wig that was picked out and the dress that was picked out, but it's not her. I can't imagine. Now, what we see, the family member didn't even notice at first. So, and I mean, I can see that, because if you've never seen an older person who's passed away, they definitely don't look the same. And if they're similar, I could see the mix up. But it seems like the funeral home did admit their mistake. But let's get right into the video. It's crazy to think about, but stuff like this happens. Let's go right into it.
Wrong body being placed in a casket. The family has now filed a lawsuit against the DeKalb County mortuary of those arrangements.
Fox 5's Denise Dillon is live in DeKalb County. And Denise, you talked with the attorney representing the family. They're alleging just such an unthinkable mistake, Denise.
Yeah, and the attorney says he really doesn't know how this happened, but what he does know is his client is extremely upset that her grandmother did not get the funeral she deserved.
Lucy Johnson, unfortunately, missed her own funeral.
Lucy Johnson was 95 when she passed away. Her granddaughter, Marva Lynch, paid Donald Trimble Mortuary in Decatur to handle her final arrangements.
She provided them with a wig and clothing for her grandmother to be buried in.
When it came time for the viewing, attorney Jonathan Johnson, who represents...
Thinking about that does make me sick. I'll be mad. You took my grandmother's clothes that I especially picked out for her, put it on someone else, and then put it in the casket we picked out. Oh my God, I can't imagine. And then, there's some funeral homes, if you didn't notice, they wouldn't say anything. They would have gone about the day and then not said anything about it. But, Jesus.
Represents Lynch, says his client was emotional and did not look closely at the woman lying in the casket.
She just briefly glimpsed in the casket, did not look closely, and her grandmother's wig and clothes were visible to her, so she just assumed that it was the right body.
Friends attended Lucy Johnson's homegoing service August 1st, 2023.
They're all sitting there. The clergyman is talking about her life. They're paying their respects to her, but she isn't there.
Turns out it wasn't the right body in the casket. Johnson says sometime between the service and the burial, Lynch was told the woman in the casket with the familiar wig and clothing was not her grandmother.
To their credit, the funeral home admitted this. They pulled her aside and said, hey, we just need to let you know, before we can do the burial, we need to take the corpse back and swap the bodies before we actually put the body into the ground, because we've got the wrong body here.
The attorney representing the mortuary released a statement saying, "We are aware of the allegations of the complaint. Our clients take pride in the delivery of professional served ones in their time of need. Our thoughts go out to the family." Johnson says his client wants to be compensated for the emotional distress of not being able to give her grandmother a proper farewell. And she wants to make sure others don't have to go through this.
People expect to be at their own funeral, and their loved ones expect
Completely
them to be
understandable.
there.
Completely
She just feels like her grandmother never got the respect she was due.
And the attorney told me that he doesn't know if the family of the other woman ever learned that their loved one was at someone else's funeral.
I didn't even think about the other woman. Of course. Jesus. They probably won't even tell her. They ain't trying to pay no more money like that. God, that's crazy. Can't imagine it. But yeah, she deserves some money. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She deserves some money for that. Can't imagine. Jesus. That is insane. All right. The last thing I want to get into, a stray bullet. Now, a stray bullet goes up into the second floor of an apartment and kills a man while he is asleep in bed next to his wife. Try it. This is... People who open on fire, they who don't care about the surroundings deserve to be in jail. That's That's something you learn when you're handling firearms. You need to be aware of your surroundings. If you shoot somebody, be aware of what's behind them. But going. Especially if you miss, bullets fly and keep going. You don't know. And you got to, and if you shoot somebody behind, yes, it matters. So let's get right. Let's get right into this.
Well, Dallas police believe it was an innocent man who was killed while sleeping in his apartment. At this point, no one else is in custody. Fox 4's Alex Boyer has the latest on this case from Dallas Police Headquarters. Alex?
Hey, Hannah, and I can tell you that Dallas police sources tell me that the male victim was the unintended target. I talked to a friend of the victim off camera. She tells me that the couple is from Venezuela, and she says the wife woke up this morning to find her husband dead in the bed beside her. Now, the deadly shooting happened early this morning at an apartment complex located in West Oak Cliff, just off Keys Boulevard. When Dallas police officers arrived on scene, they found dozens of bullet holes in the first-floor apartment, which sources say was the intended target. Through the open door, we were able to see several bullet holes in the interior wall and a sofa. No one was inside that unit and no one was injured there, but at least one stray bullet went up into a second-floor apartment, fatally striking the man who was asleep with his wife. I talked to a resident who said he was awakened by the gunfire.
Once you find out that somebody's actually got shot, it's kind of heartbreaking, you know what I'm saying? And it's kids that play around here all the time. You see there's a bike right there. Mm-hmm. You know, it's kind of sad. Think about the wife's family and think about the wife just waking up and just next to a, you know, dead.
Waking up next to your dead husband is crazy. You can't imagine the fear, sadness going through her mind. It's insane.
Dead body, like it's crazy.
How do you feel living here, just kind of knowing that, especially knowing that a random shot killed somebody?
I was just gonna say that, and then the people on the loose, you know what I'm saying? It's really safety of the community, you know what I'm saying?
And the victim's wife is staying with friends. Her friends tell me that she was too afraid to return to the apartment complex. That first floor unit has been boarded up. And we're told that detectives are searching for two suspects. No description has been released. Of course, anyone with information has to contact Dallas police. Hannah?
Okay. Hopefully they find whoever is responsible for that. Alex, thank you. Well, former Gateway Church leader Robert Morris made his
It's crazy. Gun violence really thinking about they was trying to go out and kill somebody. Then next thing you know, someone unintended gets hurt. It's The wife is going to be traumatized for a while. There's no way. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's a sad state that we have to worry about these kind of things, that we have to review these kinds of things. It's very sad. Like, I want to see when they bring in the suspects. We're gonna see this. Whenever they bring in the suspects, I'll make it'll be included in one of these videos. But it's tragic. There's a lot of things that shouldn't be happening in this world, but it does anyway. We just need to move with more precision. That's all we can do, and hope for the best at the end of the day. But that is it for episode 8. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching later. Remember, this is AC Reviews the World. And even though it's bad sometimes, we got to review the world together. We got to see these and understand what's happening. Some people are just in their shell and don't know what's happening out in the world, especially with the technology booming. They don't know what's happening outside of their own little bubble. But you got to be aware of what's happening all over so you can take that information and lead your life with the best precision. But that's it. Thank y'all for watching. And you know, I got to end it out with the intro. So that's it for now. Peace.